So you mentioned a little earlier that people know you as the science guy. So I just wanted to touch on people know you from 3DMJ and mass. Give us a bit of background as to how they came about. So you started 3DMJ, one of the co-founders and the chief science officers way back in 2009. What does that entail for you? How has it evolved over time? Touch on, I know you were late on social media, but what are the goals now for 3DMJ going forward? And for the Mass Research Review, what is it? The content you create, it's disseminated all around the world. For those not familiar with it, what is Mass and what are your goals for it? I know that's a lot of questions. Give it a go, man.
Absolutely. So 3D Muscle Journey was formed backstage in 2009, coinciding with my now colleague and partner, Jeff Albert's return to the sport. When I first got into competing, I was very, very driven. You can understand based upon the kind of connection I had being bitten by the bug. And I was too focused on the outcome and too focused on trying to win and too obsessive about the process. And it was a negative in terms of my marriage, in terms of my mental health. And I would say that in 2007, bodybuilding, it did a lot to build my self-confidence and teach me that I knew how to work hard, but it also did a lot of negative things. And I wanted to make it a more positive experience, but I didn't know how. So in 2009, when I watched Jeff Alberts return after a 3-year, what he thought would be a permanent retirement, where he was focused on the same things but got burnt out, and came back at 38 with the mindset of I'm in this for the journey, 3D muscle journey. And I'm not just here to win, I'm here to represent myself, the 3Ds, dedication, desire, discipline, and enjoy the process and focus on the journey, not the outcome. And that was the year after so many years of trying that he won his NGA and WNBF Pro card. Wow. And we saw how many people, at least at the time, it wasn't quite as global, our mindset, it was focused on California. And in California, that's where bodybuilding was born. We think of it that way. You know, if you think about the Venice Beach and Arnold, and even before them, Steve Reeves in the Hollywood era, natural bodybuilding actually kind of started in like the East Coast. That was where that really started a bastion and a stronghold, and the organization started in the 80s. But there was only a few shows on the West Coast, and natural bodybuilding was small and heavily influenced by what the enhanced guys and gals were doing. So some of the stuff you see backstage, people just dehydrating themselves, pushing themselves really hard, dieting for very short-term periods and crash dieting, and not having the assistance and the chemical needs to do those things, and suffering for it. So we were trying to create an organization that would provide information and also highlight the natural athletes. So it didn't start as a coaching business. We did coaching because we needed to subsidize what we wanted to do, which was interview people, give shine to athletes, put them on our website, start a YouTube channel, do Q&As, and educate people. But I came in as the young kind of science guy. I was the career personal trainer who was doing his bachelor's, and I very quickly stepped into that role. So I completed my bachelor's, I think in 2009 or 2010, did my first master's in 2011, and in 2012, I had the opportunity to pursue a PhD, and I finally had the self-confidence that I could do it. And that's when the opportunity arose at AUT to come out, do my MPhil, Master's of Philosophy, get into the PhD program, finish that, and take that whole career arc. And that was a big deal, leaving California where we had this robust community of 3DMJ around us. So 3DMJ became like a second family. It became a community that we'd fostered around the journey and also dedication, desire, and discipline. So it was not focused on the outcome, yet we were showing people that with this focus on evidence-based practice and a community-oriented, effort-based value system, our athletes were winning. You know, some prominent athletes at the time that really kind of blew up our scene, for example, on the powerlifting side was Bryce Lewis. You know, he was making some noise early in his career in some of the local federations. You know, and he went on to become a world champion who I coached. I was, you know, very proud to do so. Matt Ogus, kind of one of the first YouTube sensations. I had the pleasure of working with him, you know, and then Kevin Riley, Robbie Sardinia, Eric Holm. We had a lot of folks who were doing very well in the amateur and pro ranks in the local scene, and some of them who were very prominent online. And that really kind of exploded our business. And we started to become more of an online coaching business than we were like this platform for teaching people.